Citing security concerns during the shutdown, Nancy Pelosi has asked Donald Trump to give his State of the Union in writing. Trump's response? Canceling her trip to Brussels right before takeoff. It's hilarious. In the letter, he said he was sorry to inform her that he's canceling the trip. No, he wasn't sorry, not at all. He basically stole her lunch money, and then he ate her lunch. Still, Trump should accept her offer and send the address in writing, a sheet with just 2 words, bye-bye. Then hold a giant event in the middle of America. After all, the people elected Trump, not Washington, D.C. Nancy and the Dems can take shelter under their desks and watch it all on iPads. And Trump can cite his achievements, tell some jokes, just so the press has a reason to burn their hair. Broadcast it on YouTube. The media will cover it in highly flammable fact checks. It'll be the first People's State of the Union. If the media doesn't show it, then we know it's personal and political. For this is historical and hysterical. Because what do the Dems do then? Do they not respond when he does it anyway, at a better place, with better-looking people, with music, prizes, farm animals, and face painting, and almost no carbon footprint? Think about that. Do they hold a response with the same cardboard cutouts from before? Man, Nancy just offered Trump an amazing opportunity. It gets him out of a really dull speech, and it gets the 5 out of going to D.C., a place with overpriced booze, incompetent politicians, and substandard food, which really is the whole point of this monologue. All right, originally we were going to talk about the State of the Union, but we've got to talk about this letter, which is fantastic. Dear Madam Speaker, due to the shutdown, I'm sorry to inform you that your trip to Brussels, Egypt, and Afghanistan has been postponed. We will reschedule this 7-day excursion when the shutdown is over. Oh, geez. This, obviously, if you would like to make your journey by flying commercial, that would certainly be your prerogative. Dana, okay, some might say this is childish, or I think Juan thinks this is childish. I think it's childishly awesome.
You just stole my notes. You stole my notes.
We can read your mind. So this story broke during the 2 o'clock hour, and I had John Roberts on, Peter Ducey, and we find out that not only is he canceling the trip, but the trip is supposed to leave in 30 minutes.
Yes.
So they're on the bus, on the Air Force bus, with the Capitol Police ready to go.
She already took her Ambien.
Oh, no. And never do that. Never take your Ambien until you're on the runway about to take off.
You fall asleep
right?
if it gets delayed.
Right, and then you could get in trouble and all the things. So I knew something was going to happen today because it was like just the timing. I also feel like because the president was silent yesterday in response to her suggestion that he reschedule the State of the Union because of security, but now it's actually just because of the shutdown and her leverage, that they waited until that 30 minutes before that bus was supposed to leave in order to do it. And it is kind of like a reality TV show, right? Like, so I think, oh, well, tit for tat. I understand the thing about their security concerns. She was going to Afghanistan. But here's the thing. What congressional delegation thinks it's a good idea to leave town when the shutdown is entering its 5th week? I think he actually just saved them some major embarrassment.
I think they're both doing each other a favor. But, Juan, I want to get to you because I know that you thought it was idiotic or childish. But see, what makes us laugh should also bring you pleasure.
It's not funny? A little bit?
You
should be happy that I'm happy.
Well, I'm glad. Look, I'm entertained. I love this show. I think it's great. Let's make fun of everybody. But at some point, you got to say, what was it? Gary Cohn, the economic advisor to Trump, said today he doesn't understand where this is going. It's bad for the economy. We see the economy being damaged. There's real consequence. So, yeah, I love a laugh, too. I got no problems. But I will say this, to Dana's point, I think it was President Trump who actually went overseas to a war zone during the shutdown.
Yeah, that is the talking point.
When Pelosi was in Hawaii? That was when Pelosi was in Hawaii. So they couldn't have actually had a meeting.
No. In other words, Trump is being totally hypocritical and delighting in it by saying, oh, I'd like you to be here so you can negotiate. Well, wait a second. Didn't he leave town?
Pelosi wasn't in town, Juan.
Doesn't matter because he was gone.
Hawaii.
He was gone, Jesse.
But
he was gone. So, I mean, to me, what you see today is, oh, Trump's now saying, let's bring back some diplomats. Oh, okay. Yesterday was, let's bring back some IRS agents. He is so on the defensive, so losing this fight right now that he is trying to lessen the impact of the shutdown on the American people. But he delights in boorish behavior, skewering Nancy Pelosi and making himself look, I use Greg's word, childish.
Jesse, I want to just shift a little bit to the offer that Pelosi's giving, because I believe he should accept the offer, do it in writing, and hold this rally. But you disagree with me.
Yeah, I'm pro State of the Union. I want to see the president blast the Democrats and have Nancy sit next to Pence and squirm without being able to respond. And then maybe if she wants to, she can respond with crying Chuck at one podium afterwards and get hammered. Because I like the pageantry of it, and usually the presidents get a little bit of a
You
bounce.
want to go to D.C. Just admit it.
The food is delicious in D.C.
You want to stay at the Trump Hotel.
You can buy my drinks.
Yeah.
I would never stay there, right? The company's paying for it. It would be a conflict of interest. And you know I'm always on the up and up with these things. Also, remember the last time the Democrats just sat on their hands when they said the African-American, Hispanic-American unemployment was at record lows? So there's political wins to be had for the president at the State of the Union, and she doesn't want the president to have the opportunity to go make the case for the American people. But what he did today was pure savage. Nancy Pelosi is petty, but no one is more petty than Donald Trump. She went low, and he went lower.
Yes.
And my favorite line is, you can fly commercial like JetBlue flies to Afghanistan. Please. I mean, she's been in Hawaii, Juan. Her crew is in Puerto Rico. She hasn't been at the White House for a week, and then she's going to Brussels and Afghanistan for another week. She doesn't want to end the shutdown. She likes it. She thinks she's scoring points.
Let me ask you something. I know you're like Trump, but was that an endorsement of Trump to say he's going lower than low?
It's gamesmanship. And one, you can't say that what Pelosi did the other day with the State of the Union was a great power play, and this is childish.
I say it was a great power play.
Everybody on the left,
let me get the document.
Here's what I said. You know what? The government's broken. The government's not functioning. And to stand up there and pretend like everything is normal is bananas.
It reconfirms exactly what Jesse is saying. Trump and Pelosi are made for each other, right? So one goes one way, one goes the other way, whatever. The bottom line is, as a parent, it reminds me of a lot of the Sapphire household, or just a bad telenovela, the way that this is playing out. And unfortunately, we can laugh at it. It's funny, but it's not funny, because these are actually supposed to be the adults of our country. And so whether he goes to the State of the Union, okay, it's going to be the same thing. It's a political episode. We're going to see the Democrats maybe squirm a little bit. It's going to be a Democrat bashing session. Nothing's actually going to come out of it. And, you know, Nancy Pelosi's spokesperson, they came out and said that the purpose of her trip was to express appreciation thanks to our men and women of service. You know how she can do that? By staying here and getting the government back and start paying the Coast Guard, because they're not getting paid. And they're also men and women in uniform.
I do wonder a little bit about this, because, you know, when I was at the White House, I would do this thing called a sister test. So I'd call my sister and say, like, what do you think about this? And if she said, never heard of it, I'm like, oh, thank God, we're all right. But today she said something to me. She sent me a text, and she was like, both of them, could they just get it together? Right?
Yeah.
Something like that. And I wonder if that's more of the... Of course, we can laugh for a moment. It is, like, really funny. But there are consequences for people that are...
Rand Paul made a suggestion. Do we want to play that tape? Do we have time? Or should I just summarize it? Nobody's talking to me. Go ahead.
The Shutdown Prevention Act?
Yeah, I think that's a real affront to the American people. And what I would suggest is that Senator McConnell's in charge of the Senate. Let's host it in the Senate. This will be the first time in history that the House would deny a president the forum of speaking. If she's going to do that, let's hold it in the Senate.
I do not like this idea. No. This is so just boring.
I think it's even more boring.
It's even more boring. Don't host it.
You want to see a rally in, like, Billings, Montana.
No, Mar-a-Lago. I want to get a few days in the sun.
What about going to El Paso?
He had a speech already. You know, he had a speech already in the Oval Office. Did it move anything? Did it change anything?
This is the State of the Union address. It is a unifying thing for the country. We have very few traditions left.
Do you think it'll be unifying? I think he'll stand up there and just tell more distortions and lies and misrepresentations.
But I'm also okay with it going back to a written thing. That was the original intent.
No. By the way, security.
I want to go to DC.
They're having the Super Bowl. You need a lot of security for that, too, okay?